Hello everyone, welcome to EB in 10. I am one of your co-hosts, Gabe Reynolds. Happy Monday. Our top story today is on the student loan forgiveness plan constructed under the Biden administration. This is currently a developing story, as there have been a few updates since the program was originally approved. First off, let's give an overview of what this plan is for the American people. According to the Associated Press, the plan would cancel $10,000 in student loan debt for those making less than $125,000 a year or households with less than $250,000 in income. Pell Grant recipients who typically demonstrate more financial need would get an additional $10,000 in debt forgiven. The cancellation applies to federal student loans used to attend undergraduate and graduate school, along with Parent Plus loans. Currently, about 26 million Americans applied for the program, and 16 million had already been pre-approved. One of the reasons the student loan forgiveness program was enacted was due to the 2001 HEROES Act. Since the United States is still under a state of emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Biden administration had authority to create this program. The HEROES Act was originally enacted after the 9/11 terrorist attacks, allowing the Secretary of Education to waive or modify terms of federal loans in times of war or national emergency, the COVID-19 pandemic being one of them. However, on October 20, 2022, a federal judge placed a temporary hold on the program, as an effort from several states like Nebraska, South Carolina, and Iowa, to name a few. This means that the plan is currently blocked. Additionally, on Thursday, November 10th, a Texas judge claimed that President Biden did not have the authorization to use the HEROES Act to create this debt relief program. Now, fast forward to November 12, 2022, the application to apply for the program has been closed because the second federal court shut down the program. It is now likely this case will go to the Supreme Court. This means that a future outcome for student debt relief is still unknown for the American people. Our second story today focuses on an update for the Russia and Ukraine war. For the first time since the beginning of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February, Putin met with Chinese President Xi Jinping, in which they agreed to strengthen security ties. Insiders working in the Associated Press have provided the following information. Guo Shenkun, a high-ranking official of the CCP, stated that in the current conditions, our countries must show an even greater readiness for mutual support and development of cooperation. Nikolai Patrushev, the Secretary of the National Security Council for Russia, stated that strengthening of comprehensive partnership and strategic cooperation with Beijing is an unconditional priority of Russia's foreign policy. Xi has refused to criticize Russia's military actions and have increased imports of Russian oil and gas, offsetting Western sanctions. This comes at the same time a Russian missile was reported to have struck near a Ukraine nuclear plant. The reactor remained undamaged. However, Ukrainians have denounced this as an attack of nuclear terrorism. This appears to be a continuation of Russia's attempts to shut down Ukrainian power plants. Russia suffered many setbacks during the 7-month invasion of Ukraine. However, these recent events show the war is still long from over. This is Gabe Reynolds, EB in 10.
Hello everyone, welcome to EB in 10. I'm your co-host Samantha Kuhn. Our top story today focuses on the recent decline in test scores like SATs and ACTs have dropped severely since the pre-pandemic. Now what does this mean? A recent study found that ACT scores were the lowest they have been in 3 decades. Students in the class of 2022 averaged 19.8 out of 36 on their ACT. In 2018, the average score was 20.6 out of 39. Also, only 32% of students passed 3 out of 4 benchmarks in this test, which is 6% lower than it was in 2018. ACT scores are expected to rise again in 2023. It's not just ACT scores that have been dropping. However, math scores for 8th graders across the country have plummeted since the pandemic as well. Nearly 4 out of 10 8th graders fail to grasp basic concepts. This doesn't seem to affect Massachusetts students too much, as we are one of the best states for public education. The commissioner of the National Center for Education Studies, Peggy Carr, when we experience a 1 or 2 point decline, we are talking about a significant impact on the student's achievement. In math, we are experiencing an 8-point decline, historic for this assessment. About 38% of 8th graders earned scores that were deemed below basic. Every single state saw declines in at least one subject, and regions across the globe have noticed test scores slipping. The National Center for Education Studies has stated that the test scores will rise again in the future, as long as the government and public schools continue to focus on restoring education to what it was pre-pandemic. The story today focuses on the recent attempts at book banning, which has grown significantly in the past few years. This is the newest issue being brought forward in America. Books are being banned from classrooms, school districts, and state governments. But what is the cause for these bans? Books are banned for specific reasons including sexual identity, racism, and violence. According to the New York Times, this issue got tremendously extreme in the fall of 2021, when a representative from Texas pushed to ban 850 books that include the reasons above. People were outraged, explaining that schools should not determine what kids can and cannot read. However, some parents are standing with the bans. Parents have stated that this is a positive thing, and they would like to be able to teach their kids subjects such as LGBTQ+, race, and gender to their children on their own terms. But most believe book banning is becoming a political issue more than a personal preference. A real-life example of these book bans, in Virginia Beach, a local politician sued a Barnes & Noble for containing books called Gender Queer, A Court of Mist and Fury. The politician believes that these books should not be sold to minors. This suit will most likely not likely succeed. Additionally, librarians are not fond of these ideas. Many have quit their jobs due to being forced to ban certain books. With the newest school year just arriving and midterms elections just around the corner, we will see this issue arise again, maybe worse than ever.
Hello everyone, I'm Gage Williams at EBN10. Our next story today focuses on New England's favorite, football. However, the Patriots and Mac Jones are not who we're going to talk about today. Instead, let's break down the Philadelphia Eagles and how they are doing this season. They're currently the best in the NFC East League with a 9-1 winning record led by MVP quarterback candidate Jalen Hurts. The Eagles joined past year counterparts as the only ones in team history that opened the season 10-1. On Friday, November 25th, the Eagles faced the Green Bay Packers, where they won 40-33. Quarterback Jalen Hurts finished with 310 yards of offense, 157 rushing, and 153 passing with 2 touchdowns, including a pinpoint 30-yard touchdown to Quez Watkins at the front pylon in the final seconds of the first half that gave Philadelphia a lead it wouldn't relinquish at 27-20. Their only loss was during Week 10 against the Washington Commanders, which they lost 32-21 with home field advantage. Currently, they have a 2-game win streak. On Sunday, December 4th, they faced the Tennessee Titans, where Philly triumphed again, 10-35. A.J. Brown, the Eagles wide receiver, caught several big plays throughout the game to help them towards victory. Quarterback Jalen Hurts threw a 380-yard touchdown pass and accounted for 4 total touchdowns. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles now have an 11-1 record. We at EBN10 are looking forward to seeing how the team does next week.
Hello everyone, I am one of your co-hosts Jacob Harvey for EBN10. Our next story focuses on the pop star Taylor Swift. She has been in the news as of late due to her recent new album drop. She announced this at the 2022 MTV Music Awards, after winning 3 awards that night for the short film All Too Well, that she would be releasing a new album titled Midnights on October 21st. Swift describes this album as the stories of the 13 sleepless nights scattered throughout my life. The album will consist of 13 brand new tracks, with 3 bonus tracks in the CD version. This is Swift's 10th studio album. Tickets began with those who had access to a pre-sale code via the website or app, Ticketmaster, on Tuesday, November 15th at 10 a.m. That morning, millions of fans clicked quickly to snag their stadium tickets in hopes of seeing her on the upcoming tour. However, many left ticketless. Young fans, parents or guardians, friends, and even grandparents all opened multiple computers, phones, and devices to wait 4+ hours in the queue. During Viking Block that morning, there were tears of sadness and joy throughout the classroom. It was an interesting day, to say the least. Now, lawmakers are demanding answers for this Ticketmaster crash. A few days later, a report on the New York Times on November 18th said that the United States Justice Department is looking into an investigation on Ticketmaster's parent company, Live Nation Entertainment, on whether they abused their power over the multi-billion-dollar live music industry. Live Nation did release a statement soon after claiming responsibility for following the antitrust laws and did not engage with behaviors that could justify this kind of litigation. Fast forward a few weeks later, several Taylor Swift fans have sued Ticketmaster over the tour sale fiasco. Currently, there are at 26 current cases filed against the companies across 15 different states. I wonder if there will be more to come. That's all our time for today. Thank you. This is Jacob Harvey for EBN10.